Hey, you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Ali, your eccentric slow man. I wanted to do a follow-up to the previous live where we talked about you're not living this traditional life. You know, you've decided to be unconventional and non-traditional, and how to remain successful, even though you're not kind of going down that traditional path. You know, how do you keep going? And so the first video I gave 4 tips. Go and check that out. Let me know if that resonates with you and if that's helpful for you. And again, like, I'm really kind of speaking and gearing towards travel, because if you guys don't already know, like I said, welcome. My channel is about travel, my personal travel journey as I'm going through it, as I'm living and walking through it. And my passion is to assist as many others who want to walk this path, however narrow or wide it may be for you, and really just show you all the different possibilities. There is no cut and dry one answer to most things. Some things, it just is what it is. But in terms of figuring out how you can fit this into your life, there probably are multiple ways that you can whiteboard it. We'll talk about whiteboarding, I think, a little bit later. But anyway, this is part 2. And so I've got 4 maybe 5 more tips that I want to share with you guys. But a little housekeeping, if you guys don't mind, click that subscribe button, that notification bell, share it with a friend, leave me a comment, tag a friend that you think might find this information useful, and you guys chat with me. Let me know what you think. And I'll go ahead and say it now early on that most of my videos that I'll be creating going forward will be in my BTS. I'm calling it the behind the scenes, because it's really going to be let's talk about the layers of what it really means to travel, what it really means to get a visa, what it really means to go to some of these places, what does it really feel like, you know, those types of things, along with, oh, this is really cool, these are the places you went, but let's talk about you know, how to really get you there, right? So it's behind the scenes travel community on my Mind Your Body and Soul page, and the plans and pricing breadcrumb. I hope you guys will check that out. I would love to see you guys in the community. We're building it up, and as whoever's in that community will get all the videos first, and then they'll start to roll over to YouTube afterwards. So hopefully that helps you guys, and also kind of explains like my disappearing acts and things like that. Trying to get it together, trying to figure it out. And the points I'm going to talk about here today are the crux of me finding my way. Okay, so y'all, let's go ahead and get down to it. All right, so number 5, technically number 1 for this video is going to be, what value are you creating? So whatever thing that you're doing, or the reason that you're doing, is there value in it? Because sometimes we do things because, for lack of better reason, we're told we're supposed to, or whether it's verbal or non-verbal, we're repeating what we see. And I'm going to tell y'all, that has actually been one of the toughest things for me. Not to say that I didn't think I'm creating value, but trying to like hone in on what specific value I'm creating. Like, what problem am I solving? Yo, this is baobab juice. Ooh, your mind just like, what value is it? Am I creating something that people need? Am I creating something that I would need? Am I creating something that I want? As I'm saying, like, these things right here are like so important even to me, because I have to kind of go back and go, okay, I want to do all this stuff, or I'm filling my calendar with all these things to do, but why am I doing them? Like, if I can't answer why I'm doing it, then I have to wonder if it has value, right? So like I said, that's been kind of tough for me, and I feel like it's one of those things that when you figure out what the value is, you know you're answering a particular question. That might be an easy way. Like, trying to figure out how to get the answer to each one of these stepping stones. It's been kind of hard to stick to, well, why am I doing this? So I can't get connected to it. I can't, I'm losing focus. And I ask you guys, is there anything that you all do that you love, and you love it, but you have a hard time getting focused on a regular basis? It could be some days where you just ain't getting it. But this usually we struggle when we haven't narrowed down the value, what its value is for us, and then what value it is that we're creating for whoever else is going to experience that, be a part of that. This little part is so critical. It needs to align with where you are going in your life. It has to fall in alignment. And if it falls into alignment, I feel like it just naturally flows. Like you get up and you're like, bam, I got this. I can organize. Cause I struggle. Like I have all these ideas, and I'm like, okay, how do I get this all grouped? And sometimes you'll run into that because you just got a lot coming at you. But once I feel like when I'm in a space and it's aligning with my purpose, like I'm figuring out why I'm doing something, who I'm doing it for, and ultimately it still has to be for me in order for me to have longevity in it. Like I could go and be like, well, this person needs it, and I did that for the longest, where I was taking on tasks and roles and things because other people needed it and they thought I'd be great at it. But in the end, it was like, okay, yeah, you did that. It fulfilled a need, and wow, you even got some, connections, and you were fulfilled to a certain extent. It didn't carry the same level of value for you as it did for that person that wanted you to do it, right? And so this has to be because of you. It has to be for you. And you have to start putting ourselves first, be in alignment. And if you find like you're doing something that's not really in alignment, then you're probably just trying to satisfy some immediate need. And usually it's money, or bills, or we just trying to make somebody happy. We don't want somebody to be mad. So all of those things become external of our purpose, and they become just things that we need to do in order to kind of, just keep the ball rolling. And there's nothing wrong with that. Do what you need to do, but categorize those things, and so that you can at least identify what that is and when it's happening. Okay. All right. Number 6 is another determination. Determine how this thing that you're doing affects your quality of life. I can't say enough times how important it is to understand how you are benefiting from what it is that you're doing. And I know sometimes that might sound selfish, and it might just be like, well, here you go again, talking about what you want for you and for this and that. And yes, we do want to naturally do for others. But when you consistently leave yourself out of the equation, how much are you really doing for others, right? Because sometimes we do for others because we really want other people to do for us. And so we go, we hand out with a hope of receiving. You're going to end up in a space of disappointment. So at least set yourself up where you are saying to yourself, how is my quality of life enhanced? Because I don't want it to be lower. I want it to be better. I want it to be higher. I want it to be more. Sometimes it's we go down a path and we just self-gratify because we don't know another way. We don't know what else we could do. And that's why your circle is so important. We call them mentors, we call them coaches, we call them circles of friends, we call them communities, whatever it is. Because even sometimes when you're not speaking and asking questions and stuff, just sitting and listening to other people will be like, oh my God, I didn't think about that. Oh my God, I can do that. So quality of life, got to build that up. You got to have and want your quality of life to be enhanced from the decisions that you're making. All right, so that was 6. Number 7, being flexible. Learn to be flexible. And what I mean by that is as you start going down this path, you are deciding that you are about to pledge forward and do something different and be traditional and unconventional and me. I just love using those words because it's like that's what we say all the time. So, all right. But you're wanting to do something different, and that is where all of these things tie together. Figuring out what it is you want to do, being open to listening to other people who have experienced some of these things. I mean, I do it all the time. Like, I'll be like, no, it's not the direction I was going in. It's not. And then you start listening to other people like, wait a minute. So let me give y'all an example. I'll tell you a story. And I've talked about this before, but if you knew, you probably have never heard this. And this has happened on numerous occasions in my life. I call it the blueprint, right? How we have a blueprint of what our life is supposed to be like, what it's supposed to turn into, how it's supposed to end up, how it's supposed to start, whatever. We got a blueprint. Like I said, whether we created it or somebody else gave it to us, whatever, we got a blueprint. And more times than not, we try to stick to that blueprint because we've been told stick to the blueprint. Once you have a plan, stick to the plan. Don't deviate from the plan. I'm telling you, prepare yourself to be mentally and intellectually flexible with the plan. So what that means is you know what it is you want to accomplish. The accomplishment finish line doesn't change, but how you get there may. And that's the lesson I had to learn. So as I started on this reawakening journey really in 2018 and all these things started happening. Well, okay, let me go back. I'm sorry. So let me go back 2014, 2015. And there was just a lot of different things happening. But I was being presented with opportunities that were nowhere in my list, my checklist of things that, I wanted to be, I had planned to be spending my time doing. One was ended up writing for an online publication. I'm not a writer, but I have a thought process, and I guess things I want to share. This goes back to way when I was a kid. My dad told me, you have a voice, you have to learn how to use it. Now, at the time when this was presented, I didn't hear that, and it didn't circle back around until after I was in it. And, and we're talking 40-year difference before that comes to fruition of figuring out how to use your voice so that people actually hear what you say, right? So anyway, I was invited to write inspirational for a publication, and then it morphed into also sharing my plant-based. At that time, it wasn't plant-based just yet, but it was all of my, meals and different things from a health and wellness perspective, because I was in that arena at the time. And so I decided to say yes, even though I was terrified. I don't have that on the list for tonight, but sometimes walking towards the fear is the way to actually keep pressing forward. And so I did it. And in the same year, before that, I was making my products. I had just finally launched officially my product line, Zodiac Essentials, in 2014. But I had been making the products for 4, 5, 6 years for myself, and I started branching off, and a friend was like, convinced me to go ahead and open this up to the world. And okay, so I did. And then that opened up a door, me talking to someone, and they invited me somewhere so that I could share my products at an event that they were having. I share my products at an event, and a person there invites me to be on the radio. I go on the radio just to share and, do a little plug for my product line, and was invited to be a co-host on the radio show. But it's not the first time I was invited to be on a radio show. The first time was years and years and years before, and I was like, okay, but no. I just said no. And it wasn't the right timing for me. But I ended up saying yes to this because I was terrified. I had no idea what I was doing, had never done it before, but I was always taught, put on your face, go in like you know what you're doing. I'm working on a pattern to kind of reverse that. You got to know everything when you go in. But I went in full-fledged and loved it, grew with it, learned so much from it, and not just learning that side of the business, that business in itself, but all the different things. I was talking about that wheel, that career wheel, all those little things that start to open up, because now your circle is growing and you're like being introduced to people that you would not have normally been introduced to. So like now my blueprint of getting to this finish line, whatever it was, because at that time I really didn't, I had it. Clearly I've had it. I mean, all these things are tying together. It's just making so much sense, right? And so all the things that I was walking towards, I didn't know was in my blueprint. But once I actually said, okay, all right, let me take this little blueprint and close it up and put it on the shelf, and let me just get a clean piece of paper. And let's just see what happens. And that's ultimately what I did, and all kinds of things are unfold. Now I'm gonna say this. Everything that comes to your door, everything that you're offered, is not an automatic yes, just because it's like, ooh, you might experience this, you might meet this person, you don't want to close this door. Yeah, I lived in the space of, what if that opportunity knocks, look, at least peek through, you know what I'm saying? But be cautious for yourself to protect who you are, protect where you're going. And that's why knowing the 1 through 6 before this is so important. And because you have to be in this equation somewhere. What you want has to be in this equation somewhere. You have to be doing it for you somewhere. And for me, once I hit that year 48 and it was just time, I had been doing so much for so many other people. Even though it appeared I was doing for me, I wasn't. I never was at the crux. I was never at the foundation of why I was doing something. It was always because, well, maybe somebody else is going to need something, so I need to be in a position to do these things, right? Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but you get for me, I got to a point where I was just I was in a circle. Where was I going? What was I doing? Just doing, just to be doing, and staying, just to be staying, and what? Did I not deserve the happiness and all those things, right? So be mentally and intellectually flexible with how you get to the finish line, right? Tortoise and the hare. They walk the same paths, they just walk them a little bit different. And the one who just knew how to do it, how to be fast, how to be this, that, ended up messing up. Well, not being flexible with, sometimes it's a little different, the road is a little bit different, or the way you get there might be a little bit different, right? So keep that in mind. Do it without losing your principles, okay? All right, and then the last one is fail fast, so that you can take what you've learned from that failure and use that, like in your whiteboarding sessions that you have. In whiteboarding, we get together, we draw out all these scenarios and how we gonna do this, whether it's with ourselves, our team, our community, whatever. We draw everything out, and we go, yeah, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Now you can add this failure, because failure is not a negative thing. Failure, it means at least you got up and tried. At least you did something. At least you're not just sitting and going, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't want this to happen, so I'm not going to do anything. So you failed your way to the next thing. Okay, and I'm not saying all failure is not like you don't walk away, robust, because sometimes you go through failure, and I mean it's detrimental failure. And you got to figure out how to pick yourself up. And I'm not wishing that on anyone or saying that you got to go through that to be successful. Because I'm also not a person that says that we always got to be in a painstaking situation in order to understand joy. I don't believe that either, right? But sometimes we hard-headed too. Sometimes we want to go a certain path. Sometimes something just sounds so good we can't hear. And sometimes it is. And you go along the journey, and because we are not on these roads by ourselves, something else kind of hijacks us and kind of messes up our trajectory. We don't control everything. We can't control everything, but having kind of the base that you need, along with knowing what you want, More so than at least not knowing what you don't want. Yeah, that's a start, but knowing what you want, so at least as you're going along, when you see it, you can at least go, oh, let me get back over. I just saw it go down that aisle. Let me go back over here to this aisle, right? At some point, you got to get to a point where you know what you want, what you know what you're trying to do, you know what you're trying to achieve in the long run, right? Fail fast. It's kind of like being in a relationship, y'all. We hear this all the time. Like, this is a new thing now. Is this, was it girl, guy, dude, man, bro, sis? When you see the red flags, first of all, know what a red flag is. Know when something doesn't feel right. Even if you might be making a mistake, if it doesn't feel right for you in that moment, it just doesn't feel right for you in that moment. Nobody can change that. You have to go through the process where maybe that changes down the road and that opportunity comes again. So on and so forth. We won't talk about that. But we're now really pushing, identify it. Don't wait months, years to a point where you're sitting and saying, you know, someone even asks you, well, did you notice? I mean, I guess, yeah, but I was thinking, I mean, I've been in this process, in this position, even when it came to a relationship or relationships. And now I look at things, I was just saying this to myself earlier, and I was like, wow, where I'm at now in the situations are, I'm more in control of them rather than kind of just allowing them to just happen, or allowing other people to dictate how it should happen for me, right? And so this doesn't just apply, like I said, to my travel journey. This applies to life. Like, I take all of these little tips and try to apply them, not every day, but they're in the back of my head, and I can sit and go, well, am I still being true to myself? Am I still being true to my vision? And am I still bringing value? And is this still a positive quality of life? Am I allowing myself to be flexible enough to make adjustments as necessary? You know, and it's tough. There's so many moving bits and pieces. But it all goes back to, what do you want? What do you want? And we hear this all the time. People be like, you know, everybody has something to say, but most people can't answer what they want, right? And I'm getting there too. I'm working on it. Like, how do I hone in to be able to really clarify exactly what it is that bottom line, like, I know what I like in this particular scenario. I just don't know how I'm going to get there. And so this is going to help kind of facilitate that movement as I'm in this journey. I'm going to give y'all one more before I get out of here. Be courageous. So we're talking about fear, like, walk towards that fear. Be courageous. Even if you're terrified, like, oh my God, I'm not going to do this. I mean, Google some stuff. Don't be completely oblivious. Google something. But walk towards it. Walk to the light, Caroline. Who knows the reference? Who knows what that is? But how do you say walk in fear? Is that a song? Or somebody say that? But don't stifle or stop. Don't be debilitated by fear, especially if you know you're going in the right direction. It's just, you know, lack of experience, or, you know, you don't know if you could do it by yourself, and that's why having a team. All of these points answer the but. You know, okay, what's your vision? Okay, we'll have the team to help, you know, kind of facilitate that brainstorming that you're having a block. This is, you know, all these little things. Each one by themselves can't get the whole thing done, but each one together can't break us when we all together. You can break one by itself and be like, oh, that didn't work. But when you put all these pieces together, then you're sitting there going, wait a minute now, okay. So we want to be there. That's what we want to do in order to stay on the path. But if you know this is something that you want to do, don't give up on it. That's why I say don't give up. All right, y'all. So hopefully that is helpful. You guys, those are the ones I'm going to give you for right now. Make sure y'all go and join my BTS Behind the Scenes Travel Community so that we can talk about some of these things a little bit more in depth. You guys can see a little bit more of my journey as I'm going on it right now, y'all. I am in Cabo Verde, which is West African Islands. And I'll be here a little bit. It's only a pinch longer, and I head to my next stop because I am living this journey, and I'm hoping that I can impart some things, share some things with you. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully that is helpful, you guys. Y'all know the drill. Toodles and noodles, peace and hair grease.